Today I wanted to go into a little more depth on posture and maybe talk about the occasions of posture that we haven't thought of or not familiar with. But I know all of you with TOS, you're familiar that posture does play a part in the reason why we have TOS, but I think it's a very, very large part. Yes, there is accidents and there is also some diseases that cause bad posture. And so these are, definitely things that are out of our control, but it still does influence our posture. So I kind of want to read off a list of things that influence our posture that we may or may not have thought of. And the whole idea is to show how many aspects of our life actually influence our posture, and especially in this modern society, I think promote poor posture. So the first, so I'll kind of go through what's the common knowledge. We have anxiety, stress, guilt, depression, even anger, perfectionism, just this desire to be doing something perfectly all the time. And so there's this kind of letdown, but also there is this, um, kind of forward, body posture when you're just pressing to get something done perfectly. And so that brings the shoulders forward and brings the head forward, which also promotes bad posture. So also there's the negativity and ungratefulness, just this overall, where you're going to start kind of drooping a little bit because you're unhappy. You can even try this out on your own if you're not sure what emotions that you have promote bad posture. Start paying attention and be aware of your emotions and how your body structures itself and holds itself during these emotions. So obviously we'll move down the list. There's verbal abuse, emotional abuse, personality disorders, chronic hostile environments that we've lived in either when we were children or even possibly adults that promote this poor posture, this kind of defeated, beat down posture. So also working long hours, being constantly busy. Our body is tired. Our body kind of starts drooping as the day goes on, and we're just struggling to hold that good posture. Also this, American, I'm American and I love being an American, but this intense societal need to be a high achiever and to do a million things, to be a single parent and to work constantly, just juggle all these balls that so many people didn't juggle for thousands of years. And now we're trying to do all this. So we're just overwhelmed. And so we're going to start having that bad posture. So I'd like to kind of mention a few things that maybe hasn't been talked about or thought about as much. So there is definitely scientific research and data that has proven people who are markedly more sensitive than the rest of the population, that this sensitivity is not only observed in the mind, but it is also in the body as well. The body is more sensitive than the average person. Just like you obviously know people, or you're one of those people. I actually believe that most people with TOS are sensitive people. They're caring, they're giving, they tend to just, they're doers, they give everything they got. And I think that's why they're kind of at the point where either something happened, a bad movement, or they just got completely overwhelmed. And because they just give everything, they fell apart. And then, of course, we keep pushing through TOS, doing the same thing because that's how we are, that's what's expected of us, and that's how we're wired. And so, I'm going to propose that we need a lifestyle change to even have a chance to get over this TOS. So also, this modern idea of maximum achievement, the chronic stress of trying to keep up with the Joneses. Also, so let's get into the modern conveniences of just what we sit in. Like, we sit in chairs every day. Well, most of those chairs are made to support our back, and they're kind of rounded so we can sit back in there and relax. Well, that's pushing our shoulders forward. It's pushing us into that bad posture. Your car seat, what you're driving in, if you really pay attention to the posture, if you lay back into that seat, it's destroying your posture. It's pushing you into that kind of cuddled up position. So your recliner, you lay in your recliner, it feels relaxed, but it's still pushing you into that bad position. So also, these long periods of traveling in a car, they're not good for you. And so then we move on for the women. Like, there's the majority of TOS patients seem to be women. And there has been, discussion about large breasts being the issue. But I don't believe that at all, because that is not a common denominator with women who have TOS. It's not a common denominator at all. But the bra is. And so the bra, obviously, all women know that it puts you in a bad posture. Not only that, you're compressing your rib cage, which makes you start breathing from your chest and your scalenes, which puts you in a bad posture and tightens you up and brings you into this tense state. And of course, if you've been, wearing them since you're a child, then you're not even going to be aware of this. It's just going to be part of your daily routine. It's not even going to be part of your awareness, but it does absolutely play a factor. So side sleeping, well, that's probably one of the worst of all. Is you're folded up in a taco. Your shoulders are really compressed together. Your back is rounded out, shoulders are pushed forward, and then of course your head is laying in a side position and compressing those nerves in the TOS outlet. So obviously a side position is, we can't even, most of us suffer in that position, even though we used to love to sleep in that position. So I'd also like to propose of laying in the bed on our back. So you would think, okay, that's finally a position that we can get in, that we're going to be in good posture. Well, actually, if you think about it, your body, the torso of your body is going to sink into that bed, and your shoulders are going to get rolled up. They're going to get pushed up because the main weight of your body is laying down and sinking into that bed, especially with all the memory foam and the way beds are made. They're not very rigid anymore. And so actually even laying on your back is putting you in a bad posture. It's just amazing what you start thinking in all the positions that we are in our modern, relaxed, comfortable society. We're not getting exercises, but we're constantly in these positions of bad posture. So these bad postures promote chest, also scalene breathing. It's also known as thoracic and shallow breathing. So after we've developed TOS, sleeping is where we pay for the consequences of our poor posture the most. Because as we sleep, sorry about that, the muscles relax into its resting form. and if the muscle tone is formed over a bad postural position, and yes, I'm reading notes, allowing the compression, the nerves in our joints, then the muscles do not have the chance to recover and rebuild during our sleep, thus continuing the trauma and the instability that we've been experiencing throughout the day. We should be resting. Our muscles should be able to rest at night, and that's not happening for us when we have TOS. So bad posture creates muscle imbalances. The overworked and the underworked muscles are compensating, and this effect on the muscular system begins to disrupt the communication between the brain and the muscles. Now, using the muscular system becomes more like pounding 5 keys on the piano with our hand. You know what I mean? Just banging like a kid. Instead of, we're not able to play the piano with our fingers. We're doing this. So we're not able to play each key individually in a harmonious, musical, effortless fashion. That has been lost for us. This is where the IDS exercises, why it's so important, moving your fingers, moving your wrists, and accessing those certain muscle fibers that control each of those movements, because now we're working on activating the keys and not just pounding these keys with one solid muscle. As these imbalances become entrenched, they start forcing the joints into awkward and strained positions, thus creating the potential of compressing nerves. This problem can be systemic and chronic, leading to a perfect environment for TOS to become entrenched, hijacking the autonomous nervous system and putting the body into a frequent flight, fight, freeze mode because of the now real threat of compressed nerves. The body then becomes ultra sensitive to any situation, to any time the muscles are stimulated. This is where I propose that IDS, isolated dynamic stretching, can be effective because it is done in a calm, relaxed, and controlled environment with selected and isolated flexion to re-stimulate these frozen muscles. These exercises are done in a bed with a pillow when needed to provide the most calm and relaxed state for the body during the isolated exercises. And it's specifically designed to support and not the need for the neck to not become engaged, and the area around the 2S, any of the muscles around there to not becoming engaged, while we are doing these exercises. That's so important, because if we start doing that, if we start engaging these neck muscles and the muscles around the 2S, we know what happens, a major flare-up. And unfortunately, nothing can be done during our major flare-ups. I mean, we're really just in trouble. We just have to suffer through it, manage it, and then hopefully get to a chiropractor as soon as possible to give some relief. So you're going to be doing these exercises as often as possible between major flare-ups. It is important because it's the only time throughout our day when we're consciously focused and working on our new postural position and strength. As we go about the rest of the day, we return to our primary unconscious posture structure, thus contributing once again to reinforcing the muscle memory in these unbalanced positions. I propose that rebuilding our posture structure with MAT or IDS exercises, along with frequent diaphragmatic breathing exercises, has to be part of our daily lives to provide that structural stability and strength, to correct our misaligned shoulder girdle, and to also have the opportunity to work on our core strength and stability. Rebuilding our posture and manipulating our joints back into the proper position is the only way, it is the only way we're going to get past TOS and many of the other ailments that have come with it. So I hope talking about posture and the importance of restructuring our posture makes some sense to you and helps you realize that we've got to carve out some time during the day. In the mornings is a great time while we're in bed, waking up, maybe wake up a little earlier. A lot of times we wake up earlier because we can't sleep any longer. Perfect time to start doing these exercises. At lunchtime, if you come home for lunch and you can take 20, 30 minutes to rest and relax, and then do, even just 5 minutes of these exercises. Same in the evening, relax. You always want to calm down for a good 10 minutes at least before starting these exercises. But just pulling out little chunks of your day to start rebuilding this structure, but not so much that you're creating major flare-ups. Now, obviously, we're going to have to work around the flare-ups because we're working all day. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Yes, we're going to try to moderate what we can to avoid as much of these bad posture situations, and wear different clothing, whatever we can. But we're still going to have these flare-ups. This isn't going to a perfect world, and you're going to have to be working through these exercises through all that. But it's going to slowly improve where you're going to have less and less bad flare-ups. You're going to have more strength. You're going to start manipulating joints. You're going to relieve the pressure in the thoracic outlet. And before you know it, you're going to have more strength in your body and core. And you're going to start having a new life and a new hope. Take care.